Hello and welcome back to the port. I'm the Gav Major, and this is a Let's Play in the Tier 5 Japanese Premium carrier, the Zuihō, although it will also be a partial review or comparison to the Rouge, I guess you could say. Hey, first off, shipping forecast. So we're on a game of domination on Hotspot on the enemy team, Tier 6 and 5 game, so Akatsuki Benson in the division with a North Carolina, Nuremberg, Pensacola, Henan division with a Zuihō, Zerlang, Fuso, and an Arizona. Spawning on the right flank and noting that our team is split 3 ships at Charlie, 3 ships at Bravo, and 2 ships in the centre. So I'm going to initially stay where I am. Now I have launched a full flight of torpedo aircraft, and I'm just moving up to do a bit of scouting. Enemy Zuihō has quite obviously dropped their safety flight, and he's also called in fighters, but I'm just going to make some moves away, and I might now do a safety drop. But the whole purpose of the safety drop is basically I don't intend to do multiple drops on an enemy ship. I intend to probably do one and done. So what I don't want to be doing is sacrificing aircraft in excess of what I intend to do. So what I'm going to be doing is pushing in, dropping off 2 of these torpedoes against this Arizona here, and then we'll recall the aircraft strength back after that when he's surviving aircraft. The reason why I'm going in with more than 2 aircraft is basically to make sure that I will be dropping 2 torpedoes. However, I don't want to be hanging around. I'm going to launch a flight of bombers. Basically, I don't want to be launching any compromised flights of aircraft, so I'm always only ever going to launch aircraft when I got an even number at this tier. Their carriers playing this flank, and I think for the interest of my team I'm going to continue to play this flank for my team as well, in order to continually supply fighter support over the ships. I'm probably going to stay vaguely where I am at the moment. The reason being is it is a reasonable distance away. In fact, I might just start making an intention to move 1 square up, and that should actually make it a bit easier. Again, torpedo flight of aircraft coming in from the enemy, so dropping in my own fighters. Spotting a destroyer, but dropping bombs on a destroyer is nigh on impossible, and usually only ever results in incapacitations, which unfortunately doesn't actually do much damage overall. I'm going to do a quick loop. The reason being is the cooldown time on HE bombers does seem to be slightly longer than torpedo aircraft. So we're going to line ourselves up on this Arizona, and his flak has started opening up now, which should be okay. Line up for the drop, and that should do it. And then we'll record that, and we should be okay to launch some torpedo aircraft. So, the Zuihō, the aircraft chassis are the same as the Rouge. However, overall, the aircraft generally seem to have more HP, or at least the entire flight generally appears to have more HP than the Rouge. However, the aircraft are also slower, only marginally, but it is worth noting. Furthermore, they do have better concealment. The torpedo aircraft only marginally in comparison, whereas the bomber aircraft have a significantly more advantageous concealment reduction. That should be the yeah, there he goes. So we're gonna go see if we can scout out, say, the destroyer, and I'm keeping the island between me and the cruiser, which also means the cruiser can't open fire on me, which is quite advantageous. Ooh, okay, the destroyer has given away his location due to his excessively larger than detectability with his AA range. There we go. That's a slightly advantageous position actually for me to engage this Akatsuki. As I said in the Rouge Let's Play, best way to torpedo destroy is actually from behind. The reason being is it does mean that the torpedoes should be fully armed by the time that they get to the Akatsuki. Gonna recall those and launch another flight, and I'm not going to let off on the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki is a massive threat to my current position, and I will actually have to take that into consideration and start making some manoeuvres to get away from him. Now, as it's an Akatsuki, it doesn't have a great amount of AA, so I'm not exactly too concerned about loss of aircraft, so I'm going to go in with the full Monty here. I'm going to be going in with the full 6 aircraft. Oh, the Hood has done a good job in dealing with that, so I'm actually going to just maybe move up 1. Now it looks like we're going to be going in against the Helena, so the Helena has killed an Akatsuki, so I will safety drop. Helena's got great AA potential. So, looking at generally the survivability, the Zuihō does have thinner armour than the Rugio, and she does have a lower citadel, so the citadel is slightly harder to find, I guess you could say. Furthermore, she does have a lower HP, which obviously means that she can be probably killed slightly quicker. Is the Helena going to ram the island? He is. Okay, time to slow down those engines. Go for point blank range and drop them off at the stern, and that should actually finish with the Helena. I'm going to launch some HE bombs now. Now, I really would like our team to actually finish off the Zuihō, so I'm going to see if I can assist with that. Now, the Zuihō, talking of her, does have an actual torpedo reduction, which is something that the Rugio does not have. In comparison to the Rugio, furthermore, the Zuihō does have a lower AA rating. That's noteworthy, I guess you could say, because obviously the lower the AA rating, the harder it is for your ship to actually be able to defend itself. That is good. I am going to make sure I engage these torpedo aircraft regardless. If I can, I want to shoot them down. So I'm going to try and call in fighters on them, and hopefully that should get them mulched off, and with that I'm going to start heading over towards Charlie. I'm going to keep my carrier in its current location because it has got islands next to it which I can always use as self-defense. But I'm going scouting for the rest of the team, I guess you could say. There we go, managed to get rid of the rest of his torpedo aircraft, so his impact on the rest of the game is now reduced. I'm going to cool down those engines, something that I always forget to do. And what we got left in the enemy team? A Nuremberg Pensacola. And Pensacola's on full HP. Nuremberg's weak. Okay, so we might see if we can finish off Nuremberg with some torpedoes on the way back. Got a hunch the Pensacola's going to try and turn in. We did actually set a fire, right. Torpedo aircraft away. Still not completely concerned about the position of my carrier. The reason being is that I seem to be safe enough at the moment. I think priority target's going to be the Nuremberg. With the second priority target, probably maybe see if I can work one of these cruisers over, especially say the Pensacola, if I can try and put him in an awkward position. Just going to start considering a little bit of movement required. Nuremberg is precisely the ideal target I want to be going for. Regarding manoeuvrability of the carrier, there are some slight differences. The Zuihō does have a larger turning circle, but does have a quicker rudder shift, which is quite advantageous. Looks like Nuremberg's going to turn in, so we're just going to drop there. And I might even see if I can actually turn this around, and no, that's been enough. I think we're going to recall that flight then. Going to get some HE bombers away. Probably go after the Pensacola, safety drop. How much HP is our friendly Hood got? Plenty of HP for him. Hoping maybe one can hit. Wow, we are getting a fire. torpedo aircraft this time. Because if he damage cons the fire, I'm obviously going to get more damage potential out of flooding off of him. It is a Pensacola though, he is an American cruiser with a very high AA rating, so we are going to be considering a safety drop. Yep, time to just keep moving as well. So the Zuihō does give a taster of what's going to be coming in the next patch with the increased aircraft carrier detectability, I guess you could say. So what I've done with my commander builds with my carriers is I've changed it up a little bit. I've gone obviously for a full concealment build, the reason being is I want to just try and reduce that detection circle. I guess by them making concealment of carriers so large, what they've done is they've probably made concealment builds probably worthwhile. Whereas previously you probably focused on DPM with torpedoes and things like that. But the other thing I've also done with my carriers is I've gone for AA builds. The reason being is I found that carrier sniping by other carriers was getting quite common. And furthermore, I found that later in the game sometimes it was worthwhile to have a decent AA rating, as obviously you became the last ship and usually the focus of the enemy carrier, or you end up supporting your friendly ships but as providing an AA support. It's one of the things that I kind of took from like a real life doctrine. The idea behind British carriers was should the armoured deck be obviously damaged and therefore aircraft could not be launched, the purpose of the carrier would almost turn into the role of an anti-aircraft cruiser, which I think is quite an interesting concept. So that's something that I started thinking maybe that's something that could be done in game. Obviously the British carriers have the benefit of armour in real life, whereas Japanese carriers in game don't have the benefit of armour, but it's a nice idea. Pensacola has committed to a turn, so we should be alright here. But he is rapidly turning that rudder around, so I'm just going to predict where he's going to line his turn up on. I might see if I can turn it around again as well. And just chance one more torpedo at like a crazy angle. Because, oh, even though we left it down to RNG, that actually looks quite favourable. Very nice, right. Need to start getting my carrier away, and I'm going to see if I can try and help with one of these battleships. I need to make sure I don't get spotted is the best way to put it, because obviously we do have a slight point advantage, if not by much. But it might be enough, although it all depends on what the hood can do, I guess you could say. Now, flak is probably one of the most dangerous things to the incoming aircraft, so that's why sometimes it's worth just zigzagging your aircraft as you make that approach in on an enemy battleship or cruiser which has a sufficient amount of flak. There we go. Okay, we're getting a bit desperate now, getting a bit low on aircraft, but we're gonna have to just do what we can. I guess that's always one of the effects of the attrition of war in the game. So what this probably means is I'm going to want to keep up my engine speed as I make the run in. I don't have the benefit of evasive manoeuvres that tier 7 carriers do get. So I'm going to literally just try and, what I call a boom and zoom. I'm going to try and get in as quick as I can before I lose aircraft. I'm just going to launch those torpedoes now with the hope that they will make their mark. Because I've dropped them early and led enough, and that is 2 hits, very nice. Bomber aircraft, that's always a bit more difficult, but definitely going to keep moving. And I'm going to try and circle around. What I'm trying to do there is just make sure that I'm keeping a bit of island between me and the battleship. So if he does somehow magically spot me or something, then at least the island should maybe potentially be in the way. However, if our hood can survive, which it looks like he will do, with 14 seconds on the clock, we should be able to pull the win out of the bag. Again, doing my zigzag, aiming for those gaps in the flak, and hoping that I can avoid the majority of it, but there we go, managed to walk away with the win. So that's a Let's Play on Zuihō. Again, just talking about some of the things that I do in carriers. I have found Zuihō actually to be quite good fun, I have to confess. But then I've started to find carriers a bit more enjoyable as I've played them more often, and I'm learning some of the do's and don'ts and things like that. I think the effects to concealment that the Zuihō represents is another hazard that a carrier commander has to adapt to, but I think it's a good nerf. It's to the game in general, and I think some of the other nerfs, such as running out of fuel on your aircraft, which is forthcoming, and to the concealment skills of the aircraft carrier commanders, I guess they kind of expected people to make a jump towards concealment, which I can understand, and I think by doing that, they're kind of trying to preempt the shift, I guess you say, of command builds. But yes, down description will with the command build and the modules. 53,000 damage from 9 torpedoes and 8 bombs, getting 9 detection ribbons, 1 incapacitation, 1 flooding, 3 fires. Securing 3 kills is very much what carriers are really good at, is just kill securing. Sometimes people don't like it because it can be seen as kill stealing, but a carrier is very good at being able to pick out those weaker targets which have somehow managed to evade being killed and finishing them off. Although in that case I did also get the Pensacola for about half a HP. Coming top of the team, so putting in a good effort with the Zuihō there, and I can't really complain about that. And the company wise, walking away with 251,000 credits. That is after a ship service cost of 30,000 credits, and that is also with a premium count and a common credit booster. With carriers, I find that sometimes the income can be a little bit less, so even at tier 5 I will run a common credit booster just to enhance the amount of credits I earn. Now the ship service cost is, I believe, no, I don't think it's reduced. Or if it is, it's not by much, but obviously as a premium ship she does have enhanced credit earning potential thanks to being a premium ship. Well, as already mentioned, modules and command build down in the description, along with a link to Patreon if you support the channel on Patreon, as he is a non-monetized channel, and the email address for the channel if you want to send any of your own game captures for the community spotlight video on a Monday. And I'd like to say thank you to all the subscribers, thank you to all the patrons whose lovely names will be appearing on the end screen, as this is a premium ship. And until next time, I'm the Gaff Major, and back to the port.
Hey, hey, clear the way, here comes the Galloping Major. Bumpity, 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 bump. Get out of the way there, you fellows, unless you want me to run you down. I guess this is the life. Now, hey, hey, clear the way, here comes the Galloping